Yo, what up, and welcome back to Pnoid News. Man, listen, I got a good one for y'all today. All right. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about gold. We're going to talk about silver. And then we're going to have a conversation about Bitcoin. I got some crazy graphs. I got some stuff y'all legitimately have to see. This stuff is insane. It's some of the most mind-bogglingly crazy things I've seen on the internet as a whole. And first things first, let's get started with how you hedged inflation up until like 2010. All right, because this is kind of important. So up until 2010, if you wanted to hedge inflation, you went and you bought gold and silver, right? And it's important to understand why you went and bought gold and silver, because gold and silver over time have held up their value long term. It's something that you could buy and it would continue to gain in value no matter what happened. So there ended up being a bit of an issue probably after, I want to say like 2000-ish, right? Where it really started turning into some crazy stuff. And especially once the internet exposed it. So this is the reason why Bitcoin became a thing. But let's start with this. All right. So every day there's a whopping 5,500 tons of gold traded in London, making it the largest wholesale and over-the-counter market for gold in the world. Put that in perspective. More gold is traded in London each day than what is stored at Fort Knox, 4.176 thousand tons, right? On a higher volume day, amounts closer to a total of U.S. gold reserves, 8,133 tons can change hands. How is this possible? The infographic below tells the story about the gold's foremost trading hub. The London gold market is by far the largest gold market in the world, and it's the world's center for wholesale over-the-counter gold trading. The London market serves as the price discovery and market for the worldwide spot price of gold. It's home to the London bullion market and the daily LBMA gold price auction. 6,500 tons of gold is stored in London, with 75% of this stored at the Bank of England's vaults. Okay, so 600 times more gold is traded on one day in London than is produced globally on that day. How can 1,355,400 tons of gold be traded in London in 1 year when there's only been 187,000 tons ever mined? I don't know, right? But the answer is London's gold trading is fractionally reserved and is cash-settled paper trading. Right? 95% of the gold traded in London is unallocated and has no legal title and is merely part of a fraction reserve paper gold system. Right? So basically what the deal is they stand here and they trade all this gold, but they never have anything to back it as a whole. Right? Like individuals stand here and actually trade the gold, but on the same point, no one ever takes delivery of it. And, you know, I mean, I've talked about this with JP Morgan standing here creating these new larger quantities of gold delivery, right, and gold reserves and gold speculation pieces, but they never have any gold to back it. Like when the gold mines were all shut down last year, right, they sat here and they created like a 10,000 ounce gold, trading speculation piece. But basically what that was to do was to put more paper onto the market so it would drop the price of actual physical gold. Because basically what they're doing is they're just creating more gold out of thin air than really exists. So they're therefore devaluing the price of gold as a whole. Right? And this is kind of important to understand as we go forward here. So with that being said, what do individuals do? Right? Like, what do? You know what I mean? Like, as a whole, to stand here and, you know what I mean, try to hedge against inflation. Right? You know what I mean? Like, when you think the currency is going to be destroyed as a whole, right? And I'm going to show you this because this is really, really important to understand. This is the M2 money stock, right? From the Federal Reserve, right? And you see this piece here at the end where it says 2020 and it goes like basically up in a straight line, right? And they said they're no longer going to be updated, this new money, this new M2 thing. I'm going to have to do more research into that and figure out. But here's a new one that they're putting up, right? And it basically shows the same thing. Check this out. This is the M1 money supply. Anybody see anything out of the ordinary here? I mean, I think what happened in 2020 might be a little out of the ordinary, right, as a whole, like legitimately. And this one here, too, also said it was, discontinued. So here's a new one, and it says the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Like, legitimately same exact thing. Anybody seeing a bit of an issue here with what's going on with the money supply, right? You know what I mean? Because, so I wanted to stand here and show you a bunch of things because I thought it was important, right? So let's start this where this starts, right? For me anyway, right? So this here is the average U.S. home price in 1950, right? It was $7,354, right? So I said, well, how much is that in today's money? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was kind of important as a whole too. So here's that $7,500 from 1950 to 2021 will be 74,000, right? Or, 82,000, right? So that would be what the average home price was back in, the earlier part of the 2000s, 2001, 2002, or 1990s, right? You could basically get a home for this almost anywhere in America, short of like New York or San Francisco or LA, right? For $82,000. You know what I'm saying? That's the value of what a home should be, right? But the problem is that the typical U.S. home right now is worth $266,000. So that's, a bit of an issue. So what do you do as an average person, right? You know what I'm saying? When this, actually happens, what do you do? Well, you look for a new place to put your money, right? We got cryptocurrency now, right? This is cool. We can all just invest in cryptocurrency as a hedge against inflation because cryptocurrency is basically an electronic Furby, right? You know what I'm saying? But you can't produce no more Furbies, right? This is basically what this is. And we say, all right, well, we can have an electronic item that any of us can transfer at any given time over any different period, almost anonymously, but usually not, right? Whatever, right? And basically what we can do is we can hedge against inflation with these type of items, right? And, we can make some money, handle our business, do what we got to do, right? And Americans started doing so, especially with things like Bitcoin, which has gone up, I don't know, something like 55,000 or 52,000% over the past, 10 years, not even 6-7 years, right? And people have become unbelievably wealthy trading with these items. So the U.S. is trying to crack down on these items, which actually has caused, the cryptocurrency thing that actually happened, the cryptocurrency crash that happened today. But it's gaining back value as of right now. And it's basically the new gold. It is what it is. Because if you think about gold and silver, so what did somebody say to me? He said, turd flinging monkey. He sat here and said you could buy with an ounce of silver back in the day, you could buy a nice steak dinner. The same as you can today. Well, I'll be honest with you. If I tried to buy a nice steak dinner with, $26, I wouldn't be getting a nice steak dinner, to be perfectly real with you. I might be able to get a steak, but I'm not buying a steak dinner because 10 years ago, when I used to go buy nice steak dinners and take people out, for work. When we had individuals come in from overseas and, you wanted to take them out, show them a good time. A good steak dinner on the expense call was probably about 50 or $60 a clip for each person. That buys you the dinner, not just the steak, the potatoes, the salad, the sides, drinks, not even drinks rarely. Cause usually you had about an hour. So we're not talking about going and hanging out, all night long. I'm talking about taking an hour for lunch, going and getting a nice steak and, a soda or, glass of wine, whatever the case is. And we're not talking about some Sauvignon, Cabernet or nothing like that. Cabernet. I have no idea how to pronounce these things because I'm not rich. Right. But legitimately, you're not buying a steak dinner. You're not even buying the actual meal for $26. Unless you want to go to one of these bullshit steakhouses. Go to Applebee's or something, get you a little 4-ounce piece of rubber. You know what I mean? I'm not doing all that. I'll be real. I bought this weekend to go out to the lake. I bought me a tomahawk, right? And that bitch by itself costed me $26 uncooked. So I don't want to hear this bullshit about how, like, silver's keeping up with inflation or how gold's keeping up with inflation. Like, oh, it can buy you a nice suit. I'll be real. Like, yo, there's a limit to how much money you're going to spend on a decent suit. I mean, yeah, like you can go, like, I'll be real. You can go and buy a $5,000 suit. You can. That's unnecessary. I went and bought a suit last week. It was like $500, right? But like, there's only so much money that the market's going to bear for a suit. It is what it is, right? Like, that's how it works. There's no way that cotton's going to get over a certain amount of money, especially when it's industrially produced. So gold and silver no longer have measures about which, you know what I'm saying? Because I was looking around, I'm trying to sit here and think about, like, what could an ounce of gold buy you back in 1950 that it can't buy you today, right? Because usually a gold will actually buy you more today than it bought you back in the day, right? Because like there's nothing that keeps up with that measurement just due to our industrial capacity getting to the point where mass production has allowed for a drop in the price of goods. Now, if things were still produced in the United States, I bet that would be a different thing. Like if you still had to pay for labor in the U.S., it would keep up with inflation much better. You know what I mean? Or it would actually be shown that gold was much lower in price than what you think it would be. But the truth of the matter is, you know what I'm saying? There's like 600 ounces of paper gold for every 1 ounce of real gold. That's important to understand. Just like it's important to understand that same thing about silver. And there's no new articles to let me know what's going on. I'll be honest with you. I can't figure that out for myself. I'm not sure how that operates. You know what I mean? Because I don't have the capability of knowing the things that these individuals know who are actually inside of the silver market as being which they buy from the producers and having the ability to actually know how many ounces of silver were actually produced by every producer every day versus, you know what I'm saying, how many ounces were traded every day. And so therefore having an understanding of, you know what I mean, how many ounces were actually delivered versus how many ounces, you know what I'm saying, were just, you know what I'm saying, bought on options. These are all things that I'm not sure about. But I do know at minimum it's 250 ounces of paper for every 250 paper ounces of silver for every ounce of silver that's real. And it's up to 600 for every ounce of gold. And so therefore it is highly underpriced and highly manipulated. So we created a new market that isn't manipulated. It's called Bitcoin. It's called Ethereum. It's called DOGECOIN. Which, by the way, boys, make your money diamond hands, son. Diamond hands. Anyway, yo, look, it's Tom Pease with Pnoid News. Y'all know the deal. Hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.